Some of you may know about this title. Some of you may have heard me talk about it, slipping it in at every occasion at the Evangelion panel last night. Hey, what happens in you? For those of you who don't know, this manga is based on the famous scene in episode 26, the final episode of Neon Genesis Evangelion, which they're going through the whole instrumentality, and one of the ideas of the instrumentality is the alternate lives the characters could have lived. That, in other words, they don't just have to choose this particular life. And one of the lives is a kind of a happier one, where, it's more of a love comedy, where Misato is their teacher, and they don't live such wretched lives of, horror, darkness, despair, and angst. To me, as a longtime Evangelion series, and I've been a fan of the series since 1995 when it came out, it's a tremendous relief, to actually see them having a bit of fun. Because, I've been, I understand, I've dealt with the darkness, I've dealt with the death, I've been there. Now can they please relax a little, Because these are great characters, and I think they do deserve a little bit more happiness. By the way, this series, however, is not just a love comedy. One of the interesting things about it is, beginning in Volume 1, they start to sneak in elements of the original show, but they're done in a different context. For example, obviously, one of the big differences is that Yui Ikari is still around. So now both Gendo and his mother, and Shinji's mother, they're both scientists. They're working at an organization. It's not called NERV. It's not called Gehirn, but it's called the earlier title, the Artificial Evolution Laboratory. And there's an organization called Zela, which is behind the scenes. And Rei is doing all these plug suit experiments, but nobody knows what they're for, because the Evangelions haven't shown up yet. So Misato is Shinji's teacher, but her father was still one of the founders of, the Artificial Evolution Laboratory. So he's sort of gradually bringing out elements of the series, but bring them out in a different way, to sort of, keep you guessing. One of the things that I want to advocate rather strongly about the series is the fan art section. Years ago, when I was editing the original Evangelion manga in the 90s by Yoshiyuki Sadamoto, it was published at that time as a monthly comic book. Pretty much all manga in those days were published as monthly comics. And we had a letters column with fan art and so forth. And I want to revive that, just because it's in a regular tankobon instead of a regular monthly comic. That's no reason we can't have a fan section. So, some of you at the panel last night, you may have seen the Gendo as Obama poster it has. That was actually the first bit of fan art that's going to be in Volume 1. So I'd like to strongly encourage any of you who like to draw or paint and just have some kind of, we're especially looking for kind of wild left field ideas like that. Or if you don't draw or paint, you just want to send in some of your comments, we'd like to put that in there too. I'd like this to be a real forum, for the fans. So I have most of these I gave out last night, but I have some excess flyers, so if you'd like to take one, it's got the information, including the email address of our letters column. Those of you who can't get a copy, it's simply Evangelion at darkhorse.com. So it's pretty straightforward. Coming up in July 8th this year, we're having a double novel by the author of Vampire Hunter D, Mr. Kikuchi. This is a double novel of Wind Named Amnesia and Invader Summer. Some of you may recognize the first title. It was made into an anime that was released by CPM.
May it rest in peace.
Vampire Hunter D, of course, has been a great success as a book. And, of course, we're hoping people will be interested in Mr. Kikuchi's other more science fiction-oriented work as well. July 15th, Volume 30 of Berserk. It's unkillable. And in July 22nd will be Gantz Volume 6. But, you may have read Gantz, you may have read MPD Psycho, you may have read Berserk, but Dark Horse is entering into a new realm of brutality on July 22nd. It's a title that I don't think any of you are prepared for, no matter how dark and debased you regard yourself to be. I'm referring, of course, to Thumbelina. This is from the Pop Wonderland series in Japan, taking classic children's fairy tales and giving them that very special Japanese touch. And I'm sure you'll agree there are only 3 letters to describe this, M-O-E. And there's going to be there's going to be Alice in Wonderland, Little Red Riding Hood. Thumbelina's first, I'll pass it around. And you can see if you're prepared for this sort of thing.
Dun, 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 Oh.
She looks like the Mohican.
She just kind of. She just looks like Mohican, actually.
It's just cute.
It might be the
Can't
Mohican
something just be
artist. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Quick, where's my cell phone?
Yeah, because Tiny is usually seen as cute in manga, but she's literally like about this size. Also, July 22nd is the second printing, I'm pleased to see, of Volume 1 of our magazine Style School, which is a very elaborately translated, very difficult to do, book on Japanese art techniques, a magazine actually. August 5th of this year is Volume 4 of our Blood Plus novel, Nankuro Naisa. On August 19th is Volume 33 of Oh My Goddess. As you may know, we switch off every 2 months between releasing a new volume, which are now in the 30s, and releasing a previously flopped volume, unflopped. Those are now in the teens. At some point, we will finish everything up. August 26th, Volume 2 of the Blood Plus Adagio manga, and also Volume 12 of Eden, It's an Endless World, which again, we very much appreciate your supporting. It's a somewhat, there aren't too many hard SF titles being done out there.